Hey everyone. Today we are going to be talking about some general uses of AI in coding. I'll be showing you how specifically ChatGPT can help us with some coding tasks. Let's start by asking ChatGPT to generate some code for us. Here, I'm typing a prompt asking ChatGPT to generate a simple sinusoidal plot in Python. As you can see, ChatGPT was quickly able to generate the plot for us. If we want to see the code, we can simply copy the code by clicking on the View Analysis button. Now that we know how to prompt ChatGPT, we will be going to a Jupyter Notebook where I've already recorded the prompts and responses for the rest of the demonstration. This is so we won't have to wait for the responses from ChatGPT and we can actually run the code in a live environment. Alright, we're in the notebook. The first section we'll look at is debugging with ChatGPT. Debugging is an essential aspect of coding, and ChatGPT can be a valuable tool in this process. Debugging involves identifying and fixing errors in your code to ensure it runs as expected. When using ChatGPT for debugging, it's important to be specific, provide context, ask for clarification, and be prepared for an iterative process. Let's start by looking at some Python code snippets with some deliberate bugs inserted into them. Our first example is a function that's supposed to find the maximum number in a list, but there's an error in the logic. Let's see how we can prompt ChatGPT to help us identify and fix this issue. Here, I prompt ChatGPT with a general description of the code and ask what is going wrong here. I also provide the code that's causing the issue for context. The response from ChatGPT is written below. It points out that the issue with the code is the indentation of the return statement. This is crucial because in Python, indentation defines the scope of loops and functions. ChatGPT provides us with the corrected code where the return statement is moved outside the for loop. Let's run this corrected code to see if it works as expected. Now, the function properly iterates through all numbers in the list and returns the maximum value. Next, let's look at another common type of error, runtime errors. We'll use a function that attempts to divide numbers but runs into a division by zero issue. Here's the code that causes the runtime error. When we try to divide by zero, it throws a zero division error. We can prompt ChatGPT to help us fix this by providing the error message and the problematic code. ChatGPT suggests adding a check to prevent the division by zero, so let's implement this suggestion in our code. Here's the corrected code with the added check for the division by zero. This prevents the error and handles the situation. When we run this corrected code, it checks if the divisor is zero and prints an error message instead of trying to divide by zero. Great. We've seen specific examples of how ChatGPT can assist with debugging Python code. However, the principles we've applied can be generalized to any error you encounter. The key is to provide ChatGPT with clear and specific information, such as the code you're running, the error message you're receiving, and any context that might be relevant. By following these steps, you're likely to get a helpful response that can guide you towards solving your problem. Remember, ChatGPT is a powerful tool, but it requires clear information to provide the best assistance. Now that we've covered debugging, let's move on to another powerful feature of ChatGPT, code explanations. Whether you're trying to understand a complex algorithm or a simple snippet, ChatGPT can break it down for you. Our first example is a classic algorithm for the Fibonacci sequence. Let's take a look at the code for generating Fibonacci numbers. Here, the algorithm is using recursion, which means the function calls on itself to generate the next number in the sequence. Let's see if ChatGPT is able to correctly explain this. To get an explanation from ChatGPT, you can prompt it like this: explain the following code, and add the code snippet. ChatGPT provides a detailed breakdown of the function. It explains the recursive nature of the Fibonacci sequence and how the function works step by step. Next, let's look at a piece of Python code that might not be familiar with beginners, list comprehensions. They can be quite powerful and are commonly used for creating lists in a compact form. Here's a simple list comprehension that generates a list of squares of numbers from 0 to 9. To understand this code, we ask ChatGPT, explain the following code, and then we provide the code. ChatGPT explains that this code creates a list of squares of the first 10 non-negative integers using a concise for loop within a list. The output of this list comprehension is a list of the squares. Let's move on to a more complex example. This time, we'll look at a snippet of Fortran code, which is often used in scientific computing. Here's a Fortran code snippet that reads atomic properties from a file and processes them. To understand this code, we asked ChatGPT, I have a snippet from a .fo8 file, explain it to me. In the response, we can see ChatGPT was able to provide a detailed explanation of the Fortran code, breaking down each part and explaining its purpose in regard to the reading and processing of atomic data. If we are curious to get more details, we can ask follow-up questions like, what line in the pot car is it getting the atomic symbol string variable? It goes on to explain how the atomic symbol string is extracted from the file, providing a clear understanding of the process. As you can see, by providing clear prompts, you can get detailed and understandable explanation of complex algorithms, concise snippets, and even legacy code in languages like Fortran. This can greatly improve your understanding and how quickly you can pick up a programming language. Moving on, we're going to explore how AI can help in optimizing code. Algorithm optimization is crucial for improving the efficiency of your code, leading to faster execution and reduced memory usage. Optimization means making your code run faster and use less memory, which is especially important when working with large datasets or complex computations. Let's start with an example where we identify performance bottlenecks in a given function. Here's the function we want to optimize. We'll ask ChatGPT to help us identify potential bottlenecks or areas for improvement. I'm asking ChatGPT to analyze the function find duplicates, which finds duplicates in a list. This function uses sets to keep track of seen numbers and duplicates. Let's see what ChatGPT suggests. Here, it provides an analysis highlighting the efficiency of set operations and suggesting some minor optimizations. It points out that set membership tests and additions are efficient with an average time complexity of O to the 1. It also mentions the final conversion to a list and suggests possible space optimizations. Overall, the function is quite efficient with a time complexity of O to the n. The suggestions from ChatGPT include minor optimizations and considerations for large datasets. Let's move on to another example to see how AI can further assist in optimizing different aspects of coding. In our second example, we'll take a look at how to optimize loops and conditionals to improve performance. We want to optimize the following code for speed. This function finds all prime numbers in a given range. Let's see how ChatGPT can help us optimize this code. From the response, it suggests using an algorithm called the sieve of Eratosthenes, which is significantly faster for finding prime numbers. Here's the optimized version of the code. Notice how it uses a Boolean array to efficiently mark non-prime numbers. This approach reduces the time complexity significantly, making it much faster for large ranges. Let's measure the performance of both the original and optimized functions to see the improvement. The original function took approximately 12 seconds to complete, while the optimized version took less than 0.1 seconds. That's a substantial improvement. By using the sieve of Eratosthenes algorithm, we significantly reduce the execution time. This demonstrates the power of optimizing complex algorithms with AI. Next, let's explore another example of how AI can enhance your coding efficiency. In this third example, we will explore how to optimize memory usage in our code. We'll use ChatGPT to optimize the following code for memory usage. This function creates and processes a large list. Let's see how ChatGPT can help us optimize this code. From the response, it suggests a more memory-efficient way to perform the same computation by directly summing the range. Here's the optimized version of the code. It directly computes the sum without storing the range in memory, saving a significant amount of memory. Let's also measure the time performance of both the original and optimized function to see the improvement. The original function took about 0.14 seconds to complete, while the optimized version took less than 0.05 seconds. Some of you may be wondering how this method is more memory efficient. Let's see if ChatGPT can provide some more detail of how exactly this improves memory usage. The sum function, which calls the range function, calculates a sum efficiently without storing values in a list. The range function generates numbers on demand, and the sum function iterates over them without needing to store them all at once. By using the combination of the two functions, we achieved a significant reduction in memory usage and improved performance. This concludes the section on how to use ChatGPT to optimize your code. Hopefully, you can see how versatile a tool ChatGPT is in the optimization process. Next, let's explore how AI can help us translate code from one language to another. In this example, we'll translate Python code to C. In our first example, we'll translate the original Python algorithm for finding prime numbers into C. Let's see if ChatGPT can translate this code to C. This is the translated C code, which includes the prime checking function, time measurement, and sum calculation. Note the differences in handling of time function, memory allocation, and explicit looping. Let's measure the performance of the C code to compare it with the original Python code. The C code performs the prime calculation much faster, taking only a fraction of a second. In the next example, we'll take a look at the previously optimized version of the prime number algorithm. We'll use ChatGPT to translate the optimized Python code into C. In the response, it provides the translated code. Here, the optimized C code initializes a sieve array and marks non-prime numbers, similar to the Python version, but with explicit memory handling. If we run this code, we can see how well it performs. As we can see, the optimized C code performs faster than all of the other code, taking only a fraction of the time compared to the others. So, as we've seen, using AI to translate code between languages not only saves time, but also improves performance slightly. Now let's move on to another important aspect of coding, documentation. Writing documentation is an essential part of software development that ensures code is understandable and maintainable. ChatGPT can assist in generating documentation by providing explanation for code blocks, suggesting doc strings, and giving examples. Let's see how it's done. We'll start by asking ChatGPT to write the documentation for a simple function. Here's the function we want to document. It processes a list of numerical data by scaling it and applying optional upper and lower limits. In the response, we can see that it successfully generated a detailed docstring for the function, including descriptions of the parameters, return values, and an example of its use. This documentation provides a clear and concise explanation of what the function does, making it easier for other developers to understand and use the code. And with this, it concludes the Jupyter Notebook. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of AI in coding. Hopefully this video has inspired you to try to incorporate AI into your coding workflow. See you next time.